You see, you make points, and I try and respond to them. If you don't like my response, you change the subject.
I'm not changing the subject.
I'm talking about the Nebraska deal and the Louisiana deal. The Louisiana deal, I think, was a fair recognition of the problems that Louisiana had after Katrina. The Nebraska deal was a mistake. The special union deal is also out, by the way. That one, again, I was very critical of that when they did it, and one of the things I didn't like about the Senate bill was that it was much too much of a tax on people's health plans. We have cut that way back. It doesn't take effect even in its cutback form to 2018. I intend to work to try and get it repealed. I'll predict now we'll never see that. So the special union deal and the Nebraska deal, the House insisted on them taking it away, and they've been taken away.
But they were attempted. That's my point.
They were attempted, and it failed. So, yes, they were attempted, and they were frustrated because we in the House wouldn't go along with them. So I don't understand how they become points against the bill when they no longer exist, and when those of us in the House said we're not going to accept them, and that's why the things were changed.
Well, we were told this is all going to be transparent. The president promises to be online for 5 days. My math shows me that Sunday night at 10:50 to Tuesday morning at 11:15 is not 5 days. I mean, a lot of things were done behind the C-SPAN.
No, you keep making these general accusations.
I'm being specific.
I'll take them one at a time.
I'm being specific.
The Nebraska deal, we undid. The union deal, we undid. Make them one at a time, and I'll talk about it. As far as transparent, this was a very open process. It was a lot of hearings, a lot of debate. If you don't like it substantively, fine. But there was another thing where the Speaker, I think, mistakenly said, we'll have a deal where you won't have to vote for the bill, you'll just vote for this rule. Many of us objected. That went out the window. There was a separate vote on the bill. They did not get away with that. So many of us said, no, we're going to do this in a fairer way. And I think this compares very well to the usual way that bills get passed, whether it's the Democrats or Republicans in the majority.
I'm not sure how you can say it was done so open when the doctor fix wasn't even included. That's $250 billion. That wasn't even in the...
Right, that's a new issue, and his reason wasn't. In the first place, I disagreed with the proposal with the bill that led to the need for the Dr. Fix. It was a deal between Newt Gingrich and Bill Clinton, which should have made everybody nervous back in 1997. I voted against it. It cut Medicare to give a capital gains tax cut. Yes, it should be fixed, but the point is that this Dr. Fix, which is restoring what doctors should get under Medicare, was not part of health care reform. It's a bill that was passed mistakenly, in my judgment, in 1997, and we have fixed it every year since. So that is not a cost of health care reform. It is a separate thing that we would have had to do and should do whether we had health care reform or not. That's why it's separate. It was something that happened in 1997. It's been done every year since 1997. It should continue to be done, but it was not part of health care reform.
It's a standalone bill, but it absolutely goes against the deficit, the $250 billion that wasn't counted here. I mean, that's not, I'm going by the CBO numbers.
I understand that. It wasn't counted here because it's not part of health care reform. The war in Iraq cost well over $1 trillion, a terrible mistake. That wasn't counted against health care reform either.
Oh.
My point is that the Dr. Fix is a fix of a mistake that Bill Clinton and Newt Gingrich joined in making in 1997, and it's not part of health care reform. We are going to go forward with it because we should not have done it in the first place, but it doesn't get charged to health care reform any more than a lot of other expenditures don't get charged to health care reform because it isn't part of health care reform.
The other thing I didn't like about the CBO, I'm not sure how they're doing the numbers when it's clear that you guys on the Democratic side are looking for a path to citizenship for some 13 to 15 million illegal immigrants.
Excuse me, on both sides. Lindsey Graham is a Republican.
Well, that's true.
You want to curtail your partisanship for the interest of accuracy.
Well, you know what? I'll stand corrected. Okay, Lindsey Graham, who we're going to get out of there as soon as we can, hopefully. But
excuse me.
Yes.
I got good news here. You're apparently moving to South Carolina?
I am going to do what I can from here, that's for sure,
Congressman. That's very encouraging.
You like that, don't you? Well, let me ask you this. 17 million new on top of the 32 million new Americans on an insurance plan. Why wasn't that configured in when we know that's the goal?
Because it hasn't happened yet. It's probably not going to happen this year because this is one of these things you're digging up to try and discredit the bill. There's no reality to it. There are no 17 million new people on board. There is very...
let me ask you this: if you had your way, would the 17 million be on board right now?
As citizens, no, not at all.
Why not?
There's a phase-in. First of all, we're not clear how many. There is a phase-in. Secondly, if you have new people working, that means more taxes. That whole issue is both costs and benefits. But it, of course, has nothing to do with this health care bill because it's not happening now. And you want to take it off.
They'll belong to it. They're going to belong to it eventually when they're given amnesty or citizenship.
If and when they are, and there's other kinds of funding that will have to be done, but it's not part of the bill now. There is no 17 million people pending now. They aren't likely to be in the near term. And if and when there are new people added, they'll have to be paid for, and we'll have to pay taxes, and we'll have to do what everybody else does.
Yeah, and it's going to cost a lot more, is what the point is, though.
No, but it's a point that, like many of your other points, has no basis because it's not happening now. It's not part of this bill.